What's going on, everyone? It is TheDurf, and in today's video, well, I'm sure you can figure out what's going on. That's right, we're going to be talking about a new Stronghold Banner Titan build featuring the exotic Praxic Blade that is all the rage right now. You're basically going to be an unstoppable, force on the battlefield. You're going to look super cool doing it. You're going to feel like you're in Star Wars, and you're going to be able to apply a ton of different debuffs to your enemies, which we'll talk about. And oh, by the way, you're going to be able to buff your allies, print orbs of power, and basically generate your super in as little as 1 minute with this Banner Titan build. So if you've been looking for a way to incorporate the new exotic blade, this is the build for you. So unlike me, who just likes to watch this thing flip around the air, let's get it going. Here we go. To get started on our absolute monstrous Banner Stronghold Titan, our super choice, of course, the one and only Blade Fury, still one of the best in the biz, and because it's a roaming super, you're going to be able to generate this super in roughly 30 to 45 seconds, depending on the activities that you run in. For abilities, we're going to go with Rally Barricade, Strafe Lift, Frenzy Blade, and my personal preference is going to be the Grapple. You can pick the other two, whichever ones that you want, whichever ones that you prefer to use. But Grapple suits this build more so because of its ability to obviously, power melee really anything that you want. For aspects, first up is going to be Banner of War. Defeat a target with a melee attack, finisher, or sword to raise a Banner of War that pulses with energy, periodically healing nearby allies and increasing melee and sword damage. Targets defeated by you and nearby allies charge the banner, increasing the speed of its pulses. Step 1 for a Banner Titan, equip Banner of War. Step 2 for a Banner Titan with Stronghold, equip a sword. Next up is going to be Into the Fray. Destroying a tangle or casting your super grants Woven Mail for nearby allies. While you have Woven Mail, your melee regeneration rate is increased. So you're going to have a bunch of different things going on, but the key takeaway here is while you're guarding with your newfound favorite sword and reflecting all that damage, on top of that, you're going to be getting increased melee regeneration rate, and destroying a tangle or casting your super grants Woven Mail for nearby allies. So you're going to be able to give buffs to your allies as well. For fragments, first up is Thread of Warding. Picking up an orb of power grants Woven Mail. That's going to be key, non-negotiable here. Next up is going to be Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, weapon final blows create a tangle. Just another way to be able to generate additional damage. You can also throw tangles and grapple to them if you really want to get somewhere fast. Next up is going to be Thread of Fury. Damaging targets with a tangle grants melee energy. You don't really need any increase regen for your melee energy, but it's always nice to have because I like to have my Frenzy Blade on pretty much at any point. Last but not least is going to be Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. We're going to need a little help getting our grapple back as fast as possible because I don't have, at least for this armor, I don't have the grenade up to what I want it to be because I want to dump so much extra stats into my weapons. So being able to get your grenade back or your grapple back as fast as possible is going to be key for this build. For abilities, I recommend speccing into weapons, super, and melee in that order. The easiest way to do this, of course, is with the Paragon armor. You want to dump what you can into your grenade stat. You want to try to get that somewhere at least a 50. I don't find myself lacking for my grapple when I'm at least a 50, but more ideally would probably be at least an 80. And once you masterwork armor, which by the way, it costs more now to masterwork armor, so that's nice. You'll be able to get these stats closer to 100 that don't have the primary, secondary, and tertiary stat, spikes. So let's talk about the Praxic Blade. Lots of great things with this weapon. It is extremely versatile. It hits like a truck. It is kinetic weapon damage. So over the course of the season, you're going to see this thing paired with a ton of different elements, a ton of different backup weapons, etc., etc. And don't worry, I'm already working on those. But let's go through it here. The key takeaway here that you're going to really want is this refraction core. Now, if you guys really want a how-to video of how to get refraction core, let me know in the comments, and I'll make a quick guide so that you guys know how to, get this. But I got this from exchanging currency at the dude that sleeps at, the piles of trash or scrap or salvage or whatever you want to call it. But that's what it is. You have to have refraction core, or at bare minimum, you have to have impact core. So, but refraction core is going to work best here, obviously, because we're running with stronghold. So stronghold obviously is going to keep our guard up indefinitely. Thank you to Bungie for reversing that, completely mind-boggling nerf that you decided to try to pull on us last season. But it's back, and one of the best parts about this is because it's a kinetic damage weapon, the buff that you get is going to be dependent on the elemental alignment of your super. So as you see, Arc grants Bolt Charge, Solar Scorches, Void Weekends, Stasis Slows, and Strand Severs. So as you're reflecting damage, every bullet or whatever that goes into another enemy from an enemy, it's going to sever those targets. To my knowledge, there is no cooldown for this, which means every target that you sever theoretically has a chance to spawn, a tangle. What you also want is try to upgrade your strength if you can, so your charge rate's higher. But I prefer, once you get it unlocked, the Forceful Blade, upgrade that to 3 to increase your impact damage up to 86. The rest of this doesn't really matter, but I prefer the balance form. I know a lot of people are going to prefer the defensive form. Obviously, you don't need guard resistance and guard endurance when you're rolling with stronghold, but it is nice to have. And then if you really, really, really want, you can put on offensive form. And of course, that's going to pair very well with your Forceful Blade 3, which is going to bump you 86. And then your offensive form is going to give you an additional 3 all the way up to 89. And then, of course, for your catalyst, if you haven't gone through Fire and Ice to get the catalyst yet, shout out to my man, J-Rock and Real, for helping me get this. We basically 2-manned it, although the second time I think we 3-manned it. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. But either way, he invited me along for the ride. He was looking for another set of hands, and I was like, of course, I'm trying to make a build on this, so why not? So he helped me get Hyperblade. But either way, Hyperblade Reflections give you amplification once you, are reflecting damage. So it also increases your lunge distance. And I got to tell you, the lunge distance is very, very noticeable. It gives mini Shatterskate vibes, not because that's what it actually is, but you know what I mean? Those that know. Those that don't know, once you get your Hyperblade trait, go ahead and equip it, and you'll notice first off, you'll be really happy that you're amplified because you're going to be able to zoom around the battlefield. The second part of that is being able to have an increased lunge distance, which is very, very nice. I'm not really sure why I like the additional lunge distance so much, but it's just, I don't know, it's kind of nice to see on screen that you can jump a further distance. For the energy weapon, go ahead and put on whatever you want. I recommend a quick ad clear just in case. You want some quick additional debuffs, so Mida Mini Tool fits the bill here. You can throw on the new Moss hand cannon with destabilizing rounds. You can also put on Psi Eterna if you want jolting feedback. You're not really going to have to worry about running out of ammo because your main play is guarding with the sword. For your heavy, go ahead and put on whatever you want. What is kind of fun to do, and I'm just going to throw it out there, throwing on Aurora Dawn with Flash Counter and Cold Steel. It's kind of redundant having a second sword equipped, but it is kind of fun in general activities. Otherwise, the Haliatus will do you just fine. So let's talk about Stronghold. Clenched Fist maximizes guard stats on equipped swords. You take reduced damage while blocking with the sword, rapidly damaging targets after blocking shots with a sword, grants restoration for a duration determined by the number of shots blocked. So you'll be able to grant yourself restoration regardless of what element you're spec'd into. And on top of that, you're going to also be severing. So yeah, you got some pretty good situations brewing here. And this is just a strand build. Again, we're probably going to end up seeing a lot of different combinations with Stronghold and the new Blade. But this is just the first one that I kind of picked up because, of course, I love my Banner Titan. I don't play Banner Titan or Titan in general enough, but it's been a nice change of pace switching over from Warlock. And this thing is definitely like, it is ridiculously overpowered. So make sure you bump up that weapon stat, you know, up to a 150 or higher because, yeah, you'll notice the difference between 100 and 150 easily. For the rest of the armor, go and spec into whatever general armor mod that you need. For the helmet, make sure you put on a special ammo finder and a kinetic siphon at a minimum. The other one doesn't really matter. You can spec into heavy ammo finder if you want, or spec into another siphon so that you can, you know, get additional orbs of power like what I want to do. For the gauntlets, go ahead and put on 1 firepower. Actually, no, don't put on a firepower. Put on 2 heavy-handed. I don't know why I did that, but put on 2 or 3 heavy-handed. If you put on 3 heavy-handed, you can drop this down to a 1 energy, which is just a +5, which you should be fine with. The 5 isn't going to make a huge difference if you're just trying to get right at or just above 100. And then throw on a fastball if you want. Otherwise, like I said, 3 heavy-handeds will do this build very well. For the chest armor, go ahead and spec into 2 elemental resistance mods. And for ammo generation, I highly recommend putting on a kinetic ammo generation mod. You don't technically need that to make this build viable. You do technically get enough with just the special ammo finder, but I like to have this on here in case I'm being ultra aggressive with my light and heavy attacks. I know I won't run out of ammo that way. For the gauntlet, or for the oh my goodness, the leg armor, go ahead and put on Innervation and double Absolution. Now, if you are running that Grandmaster difficulty, and you know health is at an absolute premium and enemies are at an absolute max, go ahead and swap out Innervation for Better Already. That means 1 Orb of Power will help you regain health. You don't max out your health because, of course, you got to keep picking up those health orbs. But the Orb of Power health pickup is very nice in those, you know, ultra sweaty activities. And then finally, for the class ability, for the class item, put on Class Font. 1 orb pickup grants you +20 to your class stat. Throw on Reaper and throw on Bomber. The reason you want Bomber is so you can get your grapple back even faster. For the artifact, I'm going to quickly go through what I have and then explain how this might change for people depending on the element that you pick. You know what? Yeah, no, I'll do it real quick. It's not that big of a deal. All right, so in the first column, go ahead and put on whatever 3 weapon mods that you want, and make sure you have yourself equipped with such when you go into activities that have champs. I didn't have champs in the activity that I was running because I was just farming some stuff in that gameplay, but the concept is still the same. You're going to use that blade to do most of your ad clear, even some of your major damage, but once you're dealing with shields and stunning, make sure that you outfit the rest of your characters so that you don't run into an issue. In the second column, go ahead and put on Expert Handling and also Elemental Siphon. In the third column, make sure you put on Riposte or Repost or whatever you call it. That way, shortly after guarding with your sword, light and heavy attacks stun unshield combatants, and it is strong against unstoppable champs, which means all you have to worry about is barrier and overload, and you can easily do that with the energy and the heavy weapon. Make sure you put on, and like I said, make sure you put on Kinetic Synthesis, sustained kinetic weapon damage, and rapid final blows have a chance to generate a unique ammo brick. Collecting this brick will grant ammo to equip kinetic damage weapons and grant special and heavy ammo progress. So this is kind of like a last discipline, mod of armor built into the artifact. Next up, I'd say at a minimum, you want the combination Argent Blade, which is briefly pause after executing a light attack and then follow up with a light or heavy attack to empower your swords for a short time, granting it bonus damage and charge rate. Now, for this specific build, what you don't want to equip, you don't really want to equip Singularity Blade because we don't have a void element, and you don't want to equip Power from Pain, again, because we're not running around with void. So just something to think about. You could also throw on a counter energy when you remember Fireteam Stun a champ. You gain energy for your least charge ability. Armor Smith is a good option. Breaking a combatant shield temporarily grants you damage resistance and increased melee damage. Dielectric is pretty darn nice, but we don't necessarily need that in this build. And then it's just going to depend on what you really want to spec into here. The Sword Storm combo is pretty nice. Is going to be nice. I've seen demonstrations of it. Obviously, I don't have it unlocked yet because I've been making these builds, but you get the idea. And then Void Infestation, you're not really going to need that here. Sniper's Meditation, again, if you are running a sniper rifle. Kinetic Rupture is probably the only one that I can say for sure. Kinetic weapon damage against a powerful combatant has a chance to create a kinetic rupture. Targeting this rupture causes a damaging explosion that staggers combatants, and it's also, again, strong against unstoppable champs. So just mod yourself for overloads and barrier champs, and you'll be golden. And then last but not least, Elemental Orbs. Arc, you know, if you have the Psi Eterna on, this might be useful, but you don't really need this. You just want the sword mods, and you want some ability energy back, and you want those ruptures. So that is the build. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know about any kind of changes you would make. Let me know what kinds of crazy builds you're thinking about running with this Praxic Blade. You know, I'm not a huge sword guy. I will just say that. Also, in case you guys didn't realize, this does stun barrier champs. So when I said that this was incredibly powerful, or it is easily possible to stun all 3 champs with this build, I should have mentioned at that point that the Praxic Blade does intrinsically stun barrier champs. So that's my bad. Don't eat me up too much in the comments. But either way, Stronghold Titan, look, man, when they nerfed Stronghold, I was like, well, I guess there's no point to keeping any more swords anymore. Luckily, I thought that, you know, the community would be outraged. There was a lot of things going on last season that the community let the developers know that they were not, you know, appreciative of. And Stronghold was, you know, very much one of them. Lots of not good feedback, myself included. But now that it's restored to its former glory, and this new sword comes out, it was kind of like Destiny being, or Bungie being like, you know what, we did mess up. Oh, by the way, here's a lightsaber. Okay, I guess you guys can go have some fun. And Banner Titan has always been fun, but with the sword, it's even more fun. And I'm sure that there's going to be a ton of different ways that you can mod this thing up, even inside of the strandtitan build just by itself. That's going to make this thing absolutely ridiculous in a lot of different ways. So let me know in the comments what you guys are doing with yours. Let me know if you do want that help video to show you where to go so that you can try to get that modification that I showed you about, the refraction core, which is the power core. So anyways, if you guys did find anything helpful in this video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you know a guardian out there who could benefit from a good Banner Titan Stronghold build that includes the brand new exotic blade, go ahead and share this video with them or send them my way. My goal is to help as many people as possible. As always, I will have a dim link in the video description. And if by chance you guys are looking for that non-toxic gaming community, I highly recommend hopping in my Discord. People are going nuts, doing all kinds of different things all over Tharsis. Obviously, the Fireteam ops, the Portal, there's different things in the Pinnacle ops. So yeah, my community is doing really well, pairing up, teaming up, getting things done. Remember, arenas now are 6 player match made activities. So you can get a team of 6 now and do something other than a raid. So that's pretty cool too. So anyways, I'm going to switch over to some more highlights and then I will wrap it up. While there's a lot of great Titan builds out there that you can do some serious damage with, to me personally, nothing feels better than just wailing on enemies with your Stronghold Titan, whether that's, of course, with Banner of War going or a different element. It just feels right when you're talking about, a Titan that basically can withstand whatever and then just absolutely maul and punish any remaining, enemies that stand in its way. So whether you are using this weapon as just a straight up guard, or if you are going to be using it like I'm using it right now, where you're just mowing down enemies and, protecting yourself and continuing to proc and buff your allies and keep giving yourself additional ability regen, it doesn't really matter because Stronghold Titan is absolutely ridiculous. No matter what element that you decide to spec into, but the strand is particularly useful because of the sever effects that you can do. And I know it's not as busy in this activity as in, other activities, but believe me when I say in those harder activities, your super comes back insanely fast when you are guarding with this new Praxic sword. So anyways, hopefully you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe for more content. go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you're doing with your new favorite blade. I'm looking forward to reading some cool builds and even making some builds in the future. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks as always. Take care.